In today's episode, I'm building a transition that I'm referring to as a frosted glass transition. This can be built completely in the free version of DaVinci Resolve without any additional plugins. The primary things that we'll be using to build this transition is a couple of rectangle masks. We'll be tying all of these different layers together by using time speed. We will then be combining all of them to have a transparent background so that we can then pipe in the shot that was previously in the timeline. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so today we have the oven set at 30 frames per second, and we are just going to take these two clips. So for this project, we're just going to have it as a 1 second transition. You could increase that or decrease that as you wish, but for demonstration, I'm going to have it 1 second. The easiest way to determine a full second is using this little guy here. So this first set of numbers is the frames, and then it starts with seconds. So you can simply go through here and then get an exact full second. So there we go, boom. So I'm just going to overlap them for the full second. I'll cut here, and you can just use your cut tool. And then I'm going to cut at the other end. And the reason why I'm cutting is because I want to be able to combine these into a fusion clip, but not have all the extra frames to work around. So I'll just turn this into a fusion clip. Once I've converted it into a fusion clip, now I can go into Fusion. So now that I'm in Fusion, I guess I could close some of this stuff to make this get a bit more space here. So I always like to see what my sources are. So all I'm going to do is just hit 1 to see what this is, what media this is, and then I'll hit 1 here to see what media that is. And 1 and 2 is just depending on which viewer you wanted to see a particular part of the node tree in. So because this clip is the first clip that comes in, I'm just going to put it underneath to make this a bit easier because this is a transition that has the overlaying stuff. I'm just going to have everything built above it and then bring it into here. It just makes things a little easier. You don't have to do that. Okay, I just turned on snapping as well. And you do that by just coming into Arrange Tools and then to Grid. I want to have this this shot here, which is the shot that we're going to make the transition into. I want to get that by itself. So what I'm actually going to do is just disconnect here, and I'm going to take this stuff and bring it down. We'll deal with that later. So here is my shot. I want to grab a merge. I'm going to merge this in with the foreground, and then I'm going to grab a background node, and I'm going to take the transparency and bring it all the way down, and then connect that into the background. So the background is yellow, the foreground is green. Now it looks like exactly the same. And if I add in a mask now to this, the mask will manipulate what the foreground is. And because the background is transparent, now I'll be able to see whatever, is behind all of this. And then it'll eventually be this shot because this one's going to wipe over it. So now let's make this transition animation. The transition I'm going to do is having two sides that are outside the frame, and they're going to smush together to fill the frame. So I have my first rectangle here. I'm going to increase the height all the way, and this is a 1 is completely full, and 0.5 is half of it. 2.5 is a quarter, and so on. So with that knowledge, I'm going to then shift this over to this side. And now I need to fill up the other side. I need to fill up over here. So I'm going to grab another mask, and I'm just going to put this above and connect this up. Currently, these are both set up to merge, which is perfectly fine. And I'm just going to take this and then go to 7.5, which will fill the other side. And then the height, I'll have it go all the way up. Now, we'll go all the way to, actually, let's bring this into, let's say frame 16, because because they're already filling the frame, we'll just put our keyframes here and then animate our outer keyframes at frame 0. Okay, so I'll add a keyframe here. I'll go to my other one and add a keyframe there. Then we'll come back to 0. And for this one over here, we're just going to go to negative 0.25, which will bring it right off screen. And then for this guy over here, we will go to 1.25, which will bring it over here. So now if I play this, they'll both come in together. So that's perfect. Next, I want to build all of the different layers that I'm going to use. Well, the look for all of the different layers that I'm going to use that are going to chase each other in. So you can use any tool that you want. You can use the ones I'm using, or you can build your own. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to first add in a blur, and I'll just connect this up, and we'll play this one. And let's make this full screen. And all I'm going to do is just add in a little bit of a blur. And I think the other thing that I'm going to add in is some brightness. So we'll come to color, and then we will brightness contrast, and I will just increase the brightness on here. I have to play this one to be able to see this one, and they have to be connected. Okay, so that is kind of looking like a frosted look a little bit. So we'll leave that one there. I'm going to build another look. So we'll just come down here, add tool, color. We'll do color corrector. And we're gonna pull from this source, or this merge, which is going to have our shot without, what we currently added. So we'll just feed that into here, and then we'll play this one so we can see what we're actually doing. And let's add like some blue into here. So something like that. Sure, looks great. Do I add in another one? Yeah, let's add in another blur. Let's add in another blur. So the other way that you can find tools is if you know the name, you can just hit Shift Spacebar and it'll bring up a search. So this is a little quicker than going through the different menus. So Shift Spacebar, then you just type in whatever it is that you want to use. So we'll grab blur, and now I have blur here, and I will just connect up and play this one. And we will add a little bit in. And what will I do to this one? So that's really bright. Let's add in another brightness contrast. And right now this one's highlighted. So when I click on when I hit OK for this brightness contrast, because that one's already highlighted, it'll automatically connect it. So that's another way to speed up the process so you don't have to connect everything. And then for this one, I will just make it a little brighter. I can't see it. And let's look at that one over here. So this one is just a little brighter. It's not as bright, just a little brighter. And I think that is good. And maybe let's add a little bit of saturation into this one. Sure. All right, so now I have 3 different looks that we will use to overlap each other. Now let's combine them all together. So I'm just going to bring this over here so we have a straight line. And this is the blue, and then this is the bright, and then this is the not so bright. I think I'm going to have the bright one first. So I'm just going to bring this down. And you don't have to move these. I'm just moving these to make it easier to keep track of what I'm doing here. So this is my brightest one, and then not so bright, but with saturation, and then this is my blue one. I'm going to go from my middle one and connect to my lower one, and what that's going to do is it's going to add a merge, but the bottom one here is going to be the background, and then the next one up will be the foreground, so that will lay over top. And then I'm going to grab from the upper one and drop that down here as well. So now this overlaps over all of them. So now if I play this, what you'll notice is when I'm playing here on the last one is that all of them, you don't see anything. You only see the one, right? So I need to add in this mask here. Or I need to add in the mask to the other ones. How some people might do this is they would just grab a time speed, and one of the things that time speed has is a delay, so you could delay it by frames. So if I was to, let me pull these down. If I was to take this one and put a time speed in between here, and let's say we'll view this, and let's make this a time speed of 2 frames, and I'm playing on this one. So if I play this through, what you'll see is it's kind of working, right? So that's working. But what's happening here that you can't see, and I'll explain it, because if you were to add like 5 or 6 of these, it'd really be noticeable. So what's actually happening here is we're piping in our video layer here, and then the merge is here, which is pretty much the animation of the wipe. And then it's going out to both of these blurs and then the brightness, and then it's coming out. But after this, it's going into the time speed. And what's actually happening here is it's taking all of this information, pulling it in here, and then it's delaying it by 2 seconds. The problem with this is this is a solid, if we look at this, this is a solid video. So there's a little bit of a problem here. If I was to add in, let's make this more noticeable, and I don't know what will do it to make this noticeable, but let's do 8. We might be able to see it here. But what's happening now, we're not going to be able to see it. It's too difficult. But anyways, the video is getting stepped back 2 seconds. So if this wipe would happen, you would see 2 frames, and then you would see the same exact 2 frames right after, because this one will overlap on top of this one. So that's a problem, because we want the video to not stutter, because currently it's going to stutter because it has whatever the delay is here. So what we actually want to do is we want to delay the mask. We don't want to delay the actual video. So that's a distinction that I wanted to make very clear so that you understand. So what we'll do is we will still use the time speed, but we will pipe the time speed into the merge, because the merge will be able to manipulate the foreground. So we'll just bring from here, which is the whole thing. It's this whole thing, right? And then we will delay this by, let's say, 3 frames. And then we will bring it into this merge. Now, if we look at this, it looks identical, but it's the mask that has the delay and not the actual video. So then let's add in another one, and we will grab from here and bring this in and up, and then we will make this a delay of 8 frames. Okay, so now let's play this and see what we have going so far. So far that's looking pretty good. All right, there's a couple of things that I would want to fix. I want to change these right now, these keyframes are linear. I want to add a little bit of a curve into that. So let's do that first, actually. All right, so we'll come into our spline editor, and currently these two are the only things that have keyframes in our whole node tree. So rectangle 1 and rectangle 2, here's both of them. They obviously have the identical keyframes. They're just going in different directions. So we'll just highlight, let's click on this so we highlight all of them. We'll click this button to see all of our keyframes, highlight the keyframes, hit F, and then we'll hit T so that we can ease in and ease out. So we'll ease in a bunch. And now if we watch this, let's turn off high quality and motion blur. Let this render. Now it comes in and then there's like a little bit, it slows down a little bit right in here. So it wipes quick and then it slows down a little bit right in here. So that's good, that's great, that's perfect. All right, so a couple of issues. One, at the beginning here, we have some type of like some like a cast of the white, and that's just the first one that we have here. And then at the end, it doesn't go away. So we have to pipe in a clean plate, which will be here. And then at the end, we have to pipe in this media in too, so that we get rid of the blue. All right. So we will take these merges and let's just move these merges down a little bit. We will grab another merge. And now this other merge, we will grab this clean background that we were using. So if we look at this now, it's just a clean background. And then we will break this connection here. And we will bring this up. And we will connect this into the foreground and connect here into the background. And then also we need to pipe in the transition that has the masks. So we'll pipe that in here. And now we don't have it. So it comes in, we have the bright, and then we should have, oh, let's watch it over here. I was watching it here. So we have the 3 layers. So we have the transparent, then we have the bright, the saturated one, and then the blue. So that goes all the way to the end. And then after this, we need to pipe in the clean transition. So we will add in another merge. We will grab from the media in, and we will put this to the foreground. And then let's drop this down. And then from this last merge, we will drop this in here. And we will do another time speed. And currently we are at 8. So we'll just do 10. Bring it in from the masks into here, and then into here. And now we'll just play this last node, and it's clean. We come back a bit, and we have all of our different layers that we were working with. Okay, so now we have our transition pretty much done. If we watch this quick. Okay, so now we have our whole transition. Once we are satisfied with the outcome here, we are going to take these two, the merge, this merge here that has this first shot, and we will take the merge and the media out, and then we'll just shift this down. Whoops. We'll shift this down a little bit. Shift it down here. And our current shot, at the beginning here, it's transparent. So if we have this as the foreground, right here where it's transparent, the background will come through. So if we look at it here, we have that background. So at this point, we made the whole transition. And it goes from one shot to the other. So let's come to the media out, and we'll play it here and play this through. Depending on your computer with these blurs, they might make your computer chug a little bit, but yeah, that's pretty much the transition. Oh, and one other thing, if your computer is kind of struggling here with rendering this because of the blurs mainly, what you're going to want to do is click on wherever it is you determine your problem is, or at the end if you want to see the whole project sped up. You just right click here and cache the disk. You pick a location, then I'll click on here, and then you just click here, pre-render, and then it will render the whole sequence out, and it will save it onto disk so it doesn't have to live render it out, and then you'll be able to see it in real time. So that's pretty much the transition that we have. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. And if you have any other ideas on transitions I should do, let me know down in the comments as well. Again, my name's JR, and thanks for watching.